Very sad last week with the Queen passing. 96 years we've reflected on the royal family, and with that comes a little twisted history as well. Let's dive into some deep dark secrets, shall we? Here's the top 5 dark secrets that the royal family hid from everyone. Number 5. King Charles. The new King Charles, but whom was once Prince Charles, the infamous Prince Charles. Yes, seems him and Zeus have a couple of similarities there, you know? Kings of kings, and of course the whole wandering eye once in a while thing. That's right, Camilla and the prince, the infamous mistress to the once Princess Diana, may she rest in peace. The king has done some pretty sketchy things in his time, apparently. Prince Charles met Duchess Camilla, aka Parker Bowles, for the first time in the 1970s, and that's where he fell helplessly in love with her. However, Parker Bowles was not considered royal material since she was not virginal. Yeah, they have a weird rule about that one apparently. Very, very weird. When Charles was away fulfilling naval duties, Parker Bowles got engaged and was eventually married to her on-again, off-again partner, Andrew Parker Bowles. From the very beginning, Princess Diana was aware of Prince Charles' inappropriate relationship with Duchess Camilla. Despite Princess Diana's reservations, Prince Charles' current wife was also at their wedding. Ooh, that's awkward. By 1981, the crown deemed it time for the prince to be married. Though he had dated her older sister previously, the prince became engaged to 19-year-old Lady Diana Spencer. Kinda doomed from the start, no? Apparently the princess said in an interview, "I remember saying to my husband, 'Why is this lady around?' And he said, 'Well, I refuse to be the only Prince of Wales who never had a mistress.'" Right out in the open, eh? Like, why even marry then, you know? Call me old-fashioned, but like, till death do you part, you know? During their rocky marriage, both Princess Diana and Prince Charles carried out affairs. I guess when it's done, it's really done. Prince Charles' most well-known affair was with his now wife, Queen Consort to the United Kingdom. Of course, we all remember the infamous and risque phone call conversation in 1992 that was leaked. During the phone conversation, the King of England said some pretty explicit stuff. Yeah, Google it up. He said it, not me. Number 4, King Edward VIII. Where do I start with this man? He's more controversial than Harry. Can you believe it? Don't worry, we'll get to him soon enough. Make sure you like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out, you know? We all know this man, King Edward VIII, and how he infamously rejected the crown in 1936 so that he could marry a divorced American woman. Oh, scandalous. Hey, guy had to follow his heart. And that heart took him a lot of places, including Germany. Edward was in love, and much like the young princes of today, they're not necessarily hooked on the idea of marrying those arranged or fit for them. They follow their heart. King Edward was in love with one Mrs. Wallace Simpson, an American woman, but also a married woman, also once divorced. Breaks the rules, Eddie. However, in order to marry the woman that he loved, King Edward was willing to give up his power, and he did. Talk about passion. On January 10th, 1931, Prince Edward and Mrs. Wallace Simpson met for the first time, as well as her then husband Ernest Simpson. Yeah, it was at this party that the first two met and fell in love. Awkward third wheel situation there, kinda. That's gotta suck being the one left for royalty, doesn't it? That's a confidence crusher. Yeah, she left me. For who? The king. Yeah. No, I'm fine. Number 3, Prince Harry. There's a couple things Prince Harry has done to solidify that bad boy reputation among the royals. Well, maybe less bad boy and just very bad decisions sometimes, you know? We're never gonna know why Prince Harry thought it was a good idea to wear a certain armband and a uniform resembling of that African German army to a theme party. Yeah, not so royalty stuff like that. We all remember in 2005 when the then 20-year-old and the photos of him in the costume leaked online. What's with these leaders doing all these themed costume parties? Yeah, I'm looking at you, Trudeau. Once the images were published, the palace was forced to do some damage control. Of course, the prince issued an apology saying, quote, "I am very sorry if I have caused any offense or embarrassment to anyone. It was a poor choice of costume and I apologize." And that's pretty well it. A little sorry here and there. Or how about in 2004 when he decided it was a pretty good idea to get into a little brawl with photographers who were taking his picture when leaving a nightclub. And of course, countless times we caught the prince shirtless or making out with girlfriends for an all-out not what to do on the internet media presence. I mean, the guy's just having fun. He's living his life. What do people expect, you know? What is he gonna play polo on a horse every day and just sit on a throne? But how far do apologies go, right? Well, Apparently, the future king and his brother Harry haven't really spoken since the infamous interview on Oprah when Harry and his partner Meghan Markle opened up about the racist scrutiny that they had been under for years from both family and media. Quote, "Many lines were crossed by William. He was at the center of a number of painful moments, turning his back when support was needed. It was a dark time, and one William hasn't really been prepared to unpack." At the same time, Prince William is still waiting for an apology from Harry for making details of private family matters public. Number 2. Banished Cousins. We all know a family member that maybe aren't too thrilled about or fond at the annual barbecue to see. A little family history, a little, oh great, look, so-and-so is here. Born in 1919 and 1926, Nerissa and Catherine Bowles-Lyon were two of the daughters of John Herbert. John was the brother of the Queen Mother, and so Nerissa and Catherine were first cousins of Queen Elizabeth. Royal first cousins. Tempting for some and hated by others. Sadly, though, they were never really able to live the life of a royal family member. In the medical terminology of the early 1940s, the sisters were diagnosed as, quote, imbeciles, and never really learned to speak. In 1941, they were admitted to the now closed Royal Earlswood Institution for Mental Defectives and were allegedly treated by their family as though they never existed. That's creepy. In a 1963 edition of Burke's Peerage, basically a family lineage chart, it listed Nerissa as passing away in 1940 and Catherine passing away in 1961. But they weren't dead at all. It wasn't until 1987 that the story of the sisters' existence was even published. In fact, it was reported that Nerissa actually had died in 1986, and Catherine was still alive at the time, sadly passing away in 2014. A scandal instantly erupted when it emerged the royal family had apparently tried to erase two of its members from their lives. In a 2011 documentary titled The Queen's Hidden Cousins, nurses and staff at Earlswood were interviewed and confirmed that to their knowledge, the royal family had never even sent the sisters a card, gift, or visit, sadly. In fact, when Nerissa died, none of the family was at the attendance of the funeral. That is horrible. Number 1. Cousin kissers. Speaking of lineage and keeping the bloodline, well, within the bloodline, the royals have had their fair share on incestuous relationships straining back almost 1,000 years. The Egyptians did it, the Romans did it, and of course, the Brits have done it. Hey, when you're perfect, it's hard to find anything else perfect. Of course, lots of the royal family has been related to the people they marry. Cousins, again, a small theme with the royals. Not only do they like banishing them, sometimes and more often than once, they fall in love with them. King George IV and Caroline of Brunswick, first cousins. Queen Victoria's uncle King George IV married his cousin Caroline. George was the son of King George III, who was the younger brother of Princess Augusta Frederica. Caroline was the daughter of Princess Augusta Frederica. Of course, Queen Victoria and Prince Albert are first cousins as well. Yeah. Queen Victoria and Prince Albert were first cousins, having shared the same grandfather, Francis, Duke of Saxe-Coburg-Saalfeld. Victoria was the daughter of Francis's daughter, Princess Victoria of Saxe-Coburg-Saalfeld. Albert was the son of Francis's son, Ernest III, Duke of Saxe-Coburg-Saalfeld, and in 1863, King Edward VII, who was then known as Prince Albert Edward, married Alexandra of Denmark. Edward was the son of Queen Victoria and was the great-great-grandson of King George II. Queen Alexandra of Denmark was also a great-great-granddaughter of King George II, making them third cousins. And of course, we come to the late Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip, third cousins. Both Queen Elizabeth II and her husband Prince Philip could call Queen Victoria great-great-grandma, making them related. Elizabeth is the great-granddaughter of King Edward VII, Queen Victoria's son. Philip's great-grandmother was Princess Alice, Queen Victoria's daughter. Dude, trust me, I had cue cards laid out on the floor while researching this. I felt like I was mapping the Game of Thrones family tree. Yeah, so many Williams and Edwards, you know? Like, we need some new names, people. Hey, we hope you enjoyed that video. I've been your host, Kyle McWaters, and until next time, as always, stay spooky, everybody.